Welcome to our project. This is what we're going to learn about. Rome. Woo. Let's dive right in. So basically Rome was formed when two lost babies were supposed to die. But they didn't, and were instead raised by wolves. They drank a lot of milk from the wolf mom and grew up very big and strong. And since they apparently had royal blood in their veins, they were like, I remember drinking milk here. We shall call this Rome. And so they built a city called Rome. Anyways, after the mythological nonsense that was Rome at the time, people of Rome decided to become a republic. And by doing that, they had to beat the crap out of the Etruscans. And, yeah, that went well. And from forth the republic, they had to think of laws, because, their people are savages. And so they made up the 12 tabs. And that worked for a while. So after a lot of years of invading and Rome fighting in wars and gladiators happening, Julius Caesar finally becomes a thing. And, he becomes a great dictator that basically leads to the downfall of Rome. He lived an interesting life. We'll learn about this class, because why not? And then dies, because it was a long time ago. Soon after, his apprentice, Mark Antony, takes over and ruins Rome. But plot twist, it comes back. But as an empire. Now with the new emperor, who just so happens to be the great-nephew of our little boy, Julius Caesar. So in 27 BC, Gaius Julius Caesar Octavius was awarded the honorific title Augustus by a decree of the Senate. Relieved by the shortening of the name, he then did whatever Caesar did with his life. Woo. Julio Claudians Augustus. Gaius Germanicus, known as Caligula, Claudius, and Nero, or as I like to call them, fam squadrons. The Julio Claudians had an impressive ancestry and wanted their rich buddies to join the Senate, which subsequently weakened the Senate. Augustus and Tiberius kept Rome alright by being peaceful bros with everyone else rather than clout-godding it up. This began a period of great success as leadership transferred from Caligula to Claudius, and Rome progressively got bigger. Then Nero became emperor and totally hated the rich upper class, despite having a fine taste in the arts. Needless to say, this pissed the gun Romans off, and caused a massive outbreak of civil war. So Nero kills himself and ends the era of Julio Squadians. Sad day. But then, from the rubble of horrible, bloody war, some guy named Vespasian showed up, looked at Rome, and said, "This is mine." Then he used his emperor money to make sure his sons were successful, made the military fabulous, and pissed off the Senate for being too extra. And then he was killed. Who? Then came 5 good emperors, because Flavians. Nerva, Trajan, Hadrian, Antonius Pius, and Marcus Aurelius. These guys weren't all from Italy, and they were chosen based on actual skill. They built a ton of new dank cities and got people to write stuff. Then they started getting invaded from the north, and Marky Mark said, "Yeet!" and made his son emperor, as he died. Of course, Roman's sweet fetish with death. This caused everyone to go back to having emperors based on that sweet, sweet, precious bloodline. And then all of a sudden, Septimius Severus shows up, and while he wasn't teaching at Hogwarts, he ruled the entirety of Rome. All of his 16 successors continued this and were killed, of course, because, sweet fetish of death. Everyone lost their social lives and moved to the country to fire up the feudalism. Then all of a sudden, Diocletian took control and cleaned up Rome's government. Then he split that in half, east and west style. Yeah, boy. Then he let those bros share power, and then immediately took back that power because, that never works. But now it's the Constantine the Great turn to clean up Diocletian's mess and glue Rome back together. Thus begins the story of the Eastern Roman side of Constantine gluing everything back together with his strategy of, whatever he does. You'll find out. Before we start, I'd like to say that this part of the Eastern Roman Empire is our favorite part.
Now this is where our journey takes us. The astonishing Eastern Roman Empire, where our boy, Constantine the Great, decides to do some good shit. He was such a pimp that he was dubbed as emperor, and his people had faith in the new leader, and so he did what any brave lad would do. Abandon the city of Rome and leave his people to suffer under the horrible leaders until, Rome fell and everybody died. Luckily for him, his city wouldn't fall apart. Yet, and he marked it as New Rome. And he even sold a lot of Roman stuff and placed in the city. Literally. Remember, kids, you have to do anything for that aesthetic. All in all, our boy, Emperor Constantine, took something okay, changed nothing except moving a few miles, and it was beautiful. Now, this part of the Eastern Roman Empire is probably like our favorite part. So a couple years after Papa Constantine said farewell and joined the clock gods, there was actually something interesting happening with the newly found empire, and the new ruler, Julius Valens Augustus, set foot to defend his turf against the Germanic, Visigoths, and Ostrogoths people. Ew. This encounter is a huge part of the Byzantine Empire, as being held accountable for the protection of themselves and the Western Roman Empire that was left behind. So, Valens did what his people's leaders at the time were known for. And he dropped the ball and was killed during the first battle. This valiant effort was recorded as the Battle of Adrianople, and the people practically wet themselves. Romans had to do something fast. So they had another boy, Theodosius, and he changed the game for being a leader, and actually did his job. This new emperor did a do, and the do was good. But all in all, no one really cared about him. He fought off the Goths and protected his empire for many years and was a true hero, but blah blah blah. By 410, the empire was doing good, having okay leaders, and things were doing just fine. Western Rome, on the other hand, was absolutely, undeniably, no doubt. This is undeniably our favorite part of the Eastern Roman Empire. With the West gone, it was time for the Eastern Roman Empire to expand and conquer and just everyone up. They were inspired because Jesus squared practically came back in 527. This man, Justinian, is regarded as the first great ruler of the new empire. And he did some good stuff, and he even cared for his people's happiness and built a church of holy wisdom and the Hagia Sophia, and people were super cool with that. He decided to top that and even created the largest and most powerful state in Europe. With the power of hundreds and thousands of buff boys, Justinian decided to kill over and die. Every leader after that sucked and heavily taxed people because their nation was way too big than they could handle. This was largely Justinian's fault, but no one really blamed the dead guy. Instead, the people and the leaders slowly watched everything fall apart. So basically the Western Roman Empire was a thing. Kinda. Not really. The Roman Emperor at the time, Diocletian, had a son named Galerius, and it was kinda like, he's a failure. So he made this one dude, boy, Constantine the Great, emperor. And we all know how that turned out. Remember? He abandoned his people. Anyways, Constantine left. Galerius became emperor of the Western Roman Empire. And he didn't do well. Because sure enough, it was sacked by barbarians. And then came abroad again. And then tore down by barbarians. And then finally, Rome had one little chance to make things right. And then gave up and overthrew their emperor. And everyone died. So that's basically Western Rome. This part has definitely got to be our favorite part. As the Eastern Roman Empire was depressed, a new religion was being formed and was trending as a new fad. And apparently, the new religion really had a thing against the empire, so they took Syria. And the Eastern Roman Empire was like, well, that's gone, and thus sparked the Islamic people easily taking over major parts of the empire. They took Egypt, North Africa, even Jerusalem. And because of this, everyone else in the entire world, from this point on, really wanted Jerusalem. The point of the Eastern Roman Empire decided to take their minds off of things important and thought it would be best to beat the absolute out of paintings and glass windows, because basically that denied the holiness of icons or religious images. And then one day, in 843, someone was like, hey, let's not do that. And the people were like, okay. Then actual good things happened for once. The series of events that take place in the Eastern Roman Empire during this time is no doubt our favorite part. After the Empire's edgy phase of being depressed and not doing anything, being inspired to do something, but smashing, they finally went to rehab and came sobered up and can now visit the kids, but only on weekends with other family members present. The Byzantine Empire was finally back on its feet, and it was here to enjoy a golden age under the Macedonian dynasty, ruled by Basil. Our boy, Basil, is a real hero here, as he fixed every mistake made before, made the empire shorter, more wealthy, made international prestige. He even pushed for art to be a thing again. He restored churches and any other cultural monuments, and prompted the learning of Greek literature, which soon Greek became the official language of the state. There were orphanages, schools, hospitals, for everyone who needed it. And the empire was amazing at converting other people to Christianity, and made peace with other states. Okay, I know we say this a lot, but for sure, definitely this time, we know for a fact that this part is absolute. The Crusades.
We will take Jerusalem! Deus vult, Deus vult, Deus vult, Deus vult, Deus vult.
I already made a video on this. I'm not doing it again. It took way too long. It's garbage. It ruined everything. Just leave it at that. So, this is it. After a series of leaders, the Eastern Roman Empire falls from a weak military and severe debt. The empire is slowly forgotten. That is until 1453, the art, literature, and theology is found and spread and inspires the Italian Renaissance, and is later named as the Byzantine Empire. Yeah, boy, gone for not forgotten, am I right?